Hello my girlies, you're welcome back to the channel. As you can see, our pleated pant is ready and I'm going to be sharing every detail of how this pant was made. So in case you're new to this channel, wow, that means you've been missing a lot, because I recreated this outfit you can see on the right hand side from start to finish on this channel, from the cutting to the stitching, pattern drafting, everything. So you don't want to miss out. Just subscribe to this channel, like this video just to support me, and I'll really appreciate it. Without saying too much, we're just going to get started. But before then, my name is Ini. I'm a fashion designer and I'm very passionate about helping others with their sewing journey. So just make sure you subscribe, because I put out content on this channel almost every day. If you watched the other video, remember I said that I was managing my fabric, and what's left is about 2 yards, which is about 70 something inches. It comes in 60 inches length. As you can see, I already cut from here to do something on the top. So it's about 72 inches. 60, 70. And now, because I'm making a palazzo pant, I'm going to divide round hip. I'm going to be cutting this fabric using my round hip divided by 4 plus 5 inches. So this is round hip divided by 4 plus 5 inches. But one thing you need to know is that the back fabric needs to be more than your front fabric. So after calculating what I have on my fabric, I realized that if I cut all of them plus 8 inches, it's not going to be enough. So the back piece is going to be round hip divided by 4 plus 8 inches, because the back has to be bigger. Okay, so if you're cutting yours, just if you have enough fabric, just do it round hip divided by 4 plus 8 inches at once. Okay, so I made a post some days ago, and I saw your comments, because I was asking the parts of making pants that you find difficult, so that I can put it into consideration. So I got some comments. Some people say they have crotch depth issues. Some people said they have extension. I need you to stay glued to this video, because while I make the pants, I'll try my best to explain, like give answers to these questions. Okay, so from my analysis, I observed that majority of people have issues with the crotch depth for different sizes. So because I can see crotch depth, I can see crotch depth, I can see crotch depth about 5 times out of, no, more than 5 times. I think I can see crotch depth more than almost 7 times on this comments out of 11 comments. So I'm going to be tackling all these questions, and I'll help you guys provide answers to your questions. This person says sewing one leg suddenly becomes, okay, one leg becomes suddenly shorter than other. Okay, just stick around this video and I'm going to answer all your questions. So without saying too much, guys, this is what one part of the fabric looks like. This is the front side, and I actually ironed this fabric down so that I can get a start point at the top part here. So when you iron your fabric before you cut, trust me, it helps you to reduce inaccuracies. Like the person that said one part of her trouser will go up and become shorter by the time she's done sewing, it's from your cutting. Okay, so this is the dimension that I have here. This right here is the back piece. It's on a fold, even though it doesn't matter, because this is the pants. By the time I'm cutting, to still open up. So this one is bigger than the front part, just like I said. I'll keep this one aside, and this is the only thing that is left from my fabric, because after cutting the length, I just place my tape across like this. From my half length, I'm going to be having 1-inch band. So I'll just place my tape somewhere around here, imagining that I've taken the 1-inch for my tape and for my band. Can you see from here? Measure the length that you want it to be. That is where all my measurements start from. So this is a straight line where I'm going to start my measurements from. Okay, make sure you take your length. I'm going to have 1-inch band, so I'll just place it here like this. My half length is 16. So if I have a 1-inch band, just assume now that we have 1 inch. That's from 16 to this part. This is the 1-inch band. So this is where my 16 will actually start from. So just from here at 17, because I'll have 1 inch above. Your band is going to be 2-inch. That's the same thing you're going to do. Take out the 2-inch before you now start measuring. So my shoulder to ankle is about 60 inches. And this is my 60 inches here. Because this is going to be a palazzo, I have to add some allowance so that it's going to flow. I can use this 62 inches. Then because I'm going to be hemming this pants, I'm still going to add like 3 inches. Okay, I'll show you how to hem in case you're confused why I'm adding so much allowance. There's the way I hem my pants with hemming tape, so I'll show you that maybe if I have the time. You can see the little thing I had left. This is the only thing I have left after cutting. This one, I'm just going to manage it to get my band. I'll just use this for my band. So if you're making this pants for For making this pants, please make sure you have at least 2.5 inches from size 6 to size 12. And anything above size 12, please make sure you have 3 yards of fabric on ground. Because now, as it is, I cannot put pockets on this pants. Okay? So imagine if I was doing this for a customer now. I'll now start speaking plenty grammar that I can't put pockets. So take note of that. So if you remember that video, you see that that pants is it's actually a pleated pants. So I'm going to rule out 3 inches here to the bottom part of this fabric. Inches. You're going to understand what I'll use this 3 inches to do very soon. So just keep watching. Now over to the people that said they don't understand how to get crotch measurements. Okay, the simple measurement for crotch extension, crotch depth is your round hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch. That is if you're doing a fitted pants. In this case, where we're not doing a fitted pants, it's obviously a palazzo. I'm going to add 3 inches to it, and it is a standard. If you're making jumpsuits, you're making palazzos, add 3 inches to your round hip divided by 4, and you're going to get your crotch length. I'll mark mine now, and this is going to be my crotch length here. Okay, I will rule this 3 inches side, this line I made, so that it will be very obvious. So doing this, that's getting this line, this straight line that goes across to the bottom of this pants. I'm going to mark my round hip divided by 4 on this crotch line here. You know, if this were to be a pattern paper, I'll just write crotch line so that's easy to understand. So you need to listen attentively. This is the crotch line, and I'll mark my exact round hip. Please don't bother yourself going to go and add any extra thing. It is from this line I am marking it. This line here that I'm marking it. So mark your exact round hip measurement. This is going to be added to it. That will give that free vibe for the palazzo. Okay. So now I'm going to mark whatever I have here. This exact measurement I have here. I'm going to take it up here to my start line, so that I can rule this line. I really hope you can see what's happening here. I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 coming this way. This is the center of our pants. So I'll mark my round waist divided by here, which is 27 inches. Which is 7 inches here. In order to get our crotch extension here, I'll take what I have here as the exact hip divided by 4. Just ignore this part. Just imagine you're not seeing this part here. I'll take what I have here to here, divide it by 4, which is going to give me like 2.5, and I'm going to mark it here. And because this is a palazzo pants, whatever you get, you can just add ½ inch to it so that you're on the safe side. Okay, so this is it. Can you see how I calculated my fabric to be exactly? So what I'll do now is just go up here and just connect it. At this part, we need our sewing allowance. I'm going to mark 1 inch here for sewing allowance. This 1 inch is ½ inch on the side of the pants and ½ inch on the center of the pants. Okay, so I'll mark that ½ inch. And now instead of placing that on this, instead of placing that on my pants, which is supposed to come from the center here, which is supposed to be somewhere around here, that's 3 points. This, don't forget that usually you have that on the pants, and from the center of the pants, that's where you have your dart. And the person's nipple to nipple divided by 2 gives you the points for the dart. So mine is 3.5. I'll just add ½ of an inch to that 3.5, because if I sew, take it out, I'll now have, so just imagine I sew the 2 crotch points and I take ½ of an inch here. This is where my 3.5 is going to be. Now, the simple thing I'm going to do now is, don't forget, this was the mark I marked. This was where I marked for my round waist divided by 4, right? So I know there are so many lines, there are so many marks right now on this pants. In case you're confused, let me just redo it. Now, after getting all these things here, from the center point, I marked my round waist divided by 4, which gave me 7 inches. This is that 7 inches. Okay, this is nipple to nipple, and this is 1 inch for sewing allowance. Now, I'll measure what I have from this round waist divided by 4, like this, and this is the amount I have that is available for pleats. I really hope you understand, because by the time I'm done sewing the ½ of an inch, I would now have all this as excess. So this is now what I'm going to be using as my pleats, 4.5 inches. Can you see? This is point, the nipple to nipple. I'm just going to mark that 4.5 inches here. Can you see? 4.5 inches here, nipple to nipple to this point. And I'm going to make marks on these 2 points so that I will know that that is my pleats allowance. So if I want to do a kissing pleat, I'll just bring them together like this. Or if I want to do a normal pleat, I'll just take it over like this and I'll have a pleat. Okay, so this is the space I have. By the time I'm done, I will now be left with my round waist divided by 4. Can you see? Then we still have our half inch here and half inch here. Do you understand? I really hope you do. Okay, so it's really simple if you follow all these things. In case you don't understand anything, you can just rewind and I'm very sure replay it and you're going to understand. Now, I saw so many comments on that post. I don't know, but one made me very surprised when I had someone say that the crotch line, I mean the crotch as in this extension comes to the front. I don't really understand what that means, but there's something that happens to your pants if you don't remove. You're supposed to remove like 1.5 inches here at the front pants here like this at the center point so that it's going to relax. When you take out that 1.5 inches, you're just going to connect it back to the top. And I think that's all about this pants. Okay, because it's a palazzo now, from here, we're just going to take it down. Or if you had enough fabric, from this point, you would have added. Maybe you want it to be so wide, but of course you have to be careful whatever you do so that it doesn't come out too much or it's not too small. Okay? Bring this straight down like this and we'll have our wide leg. Okay? So I'm not going to cut this out. So now I'm going to cut this out straight on this straight line. Okay? When you cut out fabrics, you just want to be very careful. Anything you can do to keep your fabric stable, just do it. Because those are the things that will be adding allowances that you are not aware of. By the time you are stitching, you'll be wondering, when did this happen? So keep everything in place like this. And I'm going to place the back fabric like this now. So now I've placed the back fabric under. And this is the one we just drafted at the top. I'll go ahead to put them together so that everything is just together and in place like this. I'll go ahead to pin them both together. The first adjustment at the back here is that we're not making any slant at the back. As a matter of fact, the back is even supposed to be higher because you have the butts behind. So this is the part where I made the slant. The back retains its original position. In fact, for someone that is even that has a big bum, you can even add and make it 1.5 inches. Do you understand what I mean? This is that slant I made. Can you see? I made the slant. I went down by 1.5 inches, right? So I am maintaining the same line here, the same line at this point, okay? And I'm even telling you that if it is somebody that has a big bum, you can even take it higher and just add maybe even 0.75 inches. Yes, because some people, so that when they sit down, it will not be going down. So the next thing here is that, remember I told you I'm really managing my fabric. This is my crotch extension. You're supposed to have this same amount of extension here again at the back. So the back extension is longer. Okay. So what's going to happen now is that I'll connect this point where the front one stopped at to the waist here like this with a slant. Can you see? With a slant like this, and then I'm going to connect it to this part. So this is how the extension is going to be at the back. So this is where the front one stopped at. I just drew the slant line here to meet this point and then extended the curve to this part. If you have fabric, enough fabric, in fact, you're going to open the back. The back of a pant is always bigger. It's always bigger. Okay? I'll take it down from that new crotch line at the back like this. Then I'll go ahead and cut where so that everything is the same. Can you see? The secret to sewing easily is cutting correctly. If you take your time and cut properly, trust me, you'll not even have problems when you are stitching. I'll cut out the back first. Back line, crotch line. You can see how slant it looks. So for the back waistline, I'm going to take out the pin like this, and I'm going to cut it straight. So despite the fact that the front goes down, despite the fact that the front goes down, here everything would meet at the same point for both front and back. So that's the major difference. So the back one goes straight like this. I'm going to lift it up. Make sure you're lifting it up before you now. Okay, don't forget to notch the back so that you remember where your pleat point is. Can you see? Of course. So I'll raise up this part, the front pieces like this. The back is straight. This is basically all about cutting this pant. It's very easy. I'm telling you. So now I'll just go ahead and create my pleats. I told you I don't have pockets because I don't have fabric. But if you'd like me to make a tutorial on how to create a pocket, I'm going to do that if you let me, if you say you want that. Okay? Okay, sorry, I forgot to cut the crotch for this one. So can you see? This is the front crotch. Can see? The same line, just that this one is longer. Hope you understand that one is longer while this one stops here. Then if I want, I just give it a little shape at the front. So when you're doing something like this, lift up or lift it up and be sure that the back one is still intact. Lift it up to avoid stories that touch. Lift it up. Now, there's no way you're going to stitch these pants that you're going to have issues. That one part is long, one part is short. So now, I'm just going to indicate the wrong side for this fabric. And for the pleats, it totally depends on what you want. If you want a kiss pleat, all you need to do is take these 2 points like this, match them together. And when you stitch it down, this is what you're going to have. The excess you have here, you're just going to open it up like this. You're going to have this on the right side. So if you don't want this to look this way on the right side, you can turn it over and do it on the right side instead. That's this place that you open up will be at the wrong side. Then this is what you have at the right side. By the time you press this down, you have this line here. Well, I don't think I'm doing a key split. That's not what I don't think I want to do that. What I would like to do is to just create a random pleat here. Just taking this one to meet this one. And then I'll stitch on it. So I'll just take this to my sewing machine. These are the right sides of, I should use the crotch line for the front, the 2 fronts. So I'll decide if they should go that way. This is what it looks like after stitching. This is the right side, obviously. And this is the right side. I'm going to take this to my ironing table and I'm going to steam press this part so that this line just stays in place like this. I'll repeat this pleats for the back part and then I'll show you what to do next. So once you're done pleating all the front and the back, you're just going to join them at the crotch. So place the right side facing right side like this at the crotch point and stitch. So remember we kept only half of an inch for the center part. So just stitch by half of an inch following the crotch line like this to this point. This is what it looks like on the right side. Because of that slant that we made, the slant has increased the allowance. So you have to take note of that when you are joining the pants on the side. Okay, so this is supposed to be 7 inches. If I put it straight now like this, you see that it's supposed to be 7, but because of that slant, it's increased it. So before you stitch the back crotch line, you want to decide if you are putting your zip behind. If you're putting your zip behind, you have to leave some inches, bearing in mind that you're going to have a band. Leave some inches open, then you continue stitching. But if you're not putting your band at the center, maybe you're putting it on the side, you can just go ahead and stitch it completely closed. You want to make sure that you are reconfirming your measurements before you close them up. So take what you have here and then you subtract what you want before you join them together. I had to record this part of me sewing the legs of the pants so that you see how the bottom part aligns. No part is longer than the other. Can you see? And I keep saying it on this channel, there's no way you will cut correctly that you will encounter problems when you are stitching. It's not possible. That's if you ironed your fabric correctly, you cut well, you will not have any problem. Because sometimes the fabric might be folding, like this place now, it might fold like this, you will not know. Do you understand? So when you're now stitching, you now open it, you now realize that that folded part is going to add some inches to it. So once you're done with this is what the wrong side of this fabric is going to look like. You're going to interlock and overlock everything. So take it to the weavers and they're going to do the weaving if you don't have a weaving machine. So the last thing you have to do on this pants is the bottom part. Okay, so there's one thing also that happens to people when they stitch their pants, that this line doesn't correspond. What you need to do is just to place this front crotch and the back crotch together like this. Make sure that these lines are aligning, and then you're going to pin it up. This is another place where if your cutting was wrong, it's going to show in this place. Okay, so when you pin it up like this, then you're going to stitch from one point down and then from another point down. So this is what it's going to look like on the right side. The lines will just align. It's better to start from here so that even if you have any little excess, you can just trim it off. I'm not talking about excess of 1 inch. If you have excess of up to 1 inch, then your cutting is wrong. I'm talking about that usual stretch of some fabrics. If it's just a little, just like what I cut, if your cutting is right, you don't have a problem here. So I'll just go ahead now and stitch it down. And look at what it's going to look like. See what I have here. Stitching. This is what it looks like. And another thing is that I was watching at the time I was making this pants. If you've ever watched my tutorial, of course you know that I would always open my seams. You're expected to open all your seams and steam press it. If you don't do it, the outside will be jumping like this. If you open it and press, you see how nice your pants is going to look on the outside. So now I'll turn this over to the right side. See how the lines are just matching up. I see the line. For the band and the hemming of this part, I'm sure you've done something like that before. But in case you'd like to see how I do my own attachment of band and the way I'm going to hem this with a very clean hemming tape, I'm going to be doing it in a way that there will be no seam outside here. So I'm just going to fold it inside. I can do that and put it as a YouTube short. So it's not going to be a long form video, obviously. So you have to subscribe to the channel so that you know when that video comes up. And that should be all about this video, guys. See you in my next one. Bye. This is my top.